Hello and welcome to All About Billings. We are a show dedicated to discovering the people that make Billings a great place to work and live. We will interview local business people, entrepreneurs, artists, and entertainers and learn from their successes, their failures, and their connection to Billings. I'm your host, Nancy Brook, broker and owner at Billings Best Real Estate. And today I am pleased to introduce you to my guest, James Schrage. Well, let me tell you a little bit about James. James is a lifelong Montana resident, and he's lived in Billings for the last 20 years. I think I've known you probably about all that time. Yes.
All of it, yep.
So James is a career ownership coach and small business owner. He helps people reimagine their careers and evaluate if entrepreneurship is an option to achieve their career of their dreams. And he's got some great opportunities for you folks, so be sure to listen in here. Now, James has been blessed to travel the world, spreading a message of positivity and helping people improve their businesses. And when he's not working, you will find James on the Bighorn River fly fishing or in his wood shop building, making furniture for friends and clients, and I also know he likes camping. So welcome to the show, James.
Thanks, Nancy. I'm glad to be here. I'm pretty excited.
Well, so let's start with, you're a lifelong Montana resident. So tell us more about where you grew up and then how you ended up in Billings.
So I grew up in Kalispell, back when Kalispell was small, right? We had just the main street, and you could drag that on the weekends and not get in trouble, stuff like that, which was cool. So I graduated from high school, went down to MSU in Bozeman, stayed there for 17 years, met my wife, had my first child there. Well, I didn't have my child, but, you know. And then had a business there for a while. I was partners in a business, and then left Bozeman and came here, and have been in Billings now for 20 years. This is the 20th year, so it's pretty exciting.
Well, and the thing I admire about you is you've been able to have some unique careers in Billings, and you've been able to use your skills as a speaker, as a business person, as a motivator, to be able to really craft the career of your dreams, and now you're here trying to help other people find that same excitement. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've done in your life.
So I've been a bad example for a lot of people, but I've had a really interesting career. I've been blessed. I started out, when I came here, I was a hot tub guy, right? I sold hot tubs. I was a manager of a store here in town, and I thought that was it. I thought, oh, I've made it. I'm a manager. This is cool. But I was never satisfied. So I joined Toastmasters, where you and I met, and learned how to be a better speaker, which made me a better salesperson. Well, long story short, I ended up leaving that company, and I needed a job. I went to the manufacturer that we were selling and said, hey, I can train people. And so they hired me as a trainer. And before I knew it, that was 2007, so right as the economy was getting ready to tank.
Right.
Yeah. So I was in a department of 7 people. It was reduced down to 1, and it was me.
Wow.
And I was training people in 2 different brands and just traveling all over the U.S. Then when the economy got so tight, we quit traveling, so I created online training. It was like one of the first online trainings in the industry, which was kind of cool.
Wow.
And I got to do that just because, well, I got to be creative or else I'm not going to be around. And so got to do that, and as things got better, the travel restrictions were lifted, I started going all over the States, and then I got invited to go to Europe and speak in the UK. And then next thing I know, I'm in Australia and New Zealand and France and Italy and all these really cool places, you know, and I'm like, I'm just a hot tub guy who just can stand
Became
up
an international speaker.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing, though.
It's cool. It was very cool. I think the pinnacle was, where was I? I was in Italy, northern Italy, and there was a conference there. 25 nations were represented, all hot tub nations, you know, people in the hot tub business. But I gave a presentation to about 300 to 400 people. I can't quite remember. And in the back of the room, there were 5 different booths. And these booths were soundproof booths with people with headphones on. And what they were doing is they were translating everything I said into different languages, which I thought was just cool. And they had a videographer, so the guy was running around taking video of everything. It was cool. And so, yeah, and then after a while, I left the hot tub business and I started the business that I do now, which is helping people buy businesses or change their career.
Well, and it took you a while to really figure out the next thing.
It did.
Right? Because so you were doing this training around the world and you just weren't quite sure what was going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that process, because that's what really is unique about you that helps you help other people.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had the stereotypical corporate story. I had a great corporate job. I was asked to leave one day.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And so then I was like all of a sudden on the street going, oh, wow, what do I do? I'm 52 years old. I've been doing the same thing for 30 years. How do I change? And funny thing is a coach reached out to me and said, hey, have you ever thought about owning a business or changing your career path? And I said, I'm glad you called. And so we started talking. And I went through about a 6-month process where we would just explore different ideas. We would talk about things that scared the crap out of me, you know, because a lot of times fear is what holds us back from doing anything. And so, yeah, so we went through this whole experience. I looked at like 6 other businesses before I chose what I'm doing now. Everything from retail to different home services and stuff like that. And really what it came down to was this organization, this business, embodies the same principles that I would teach people when I was training them or when I would be speaking and talking about, you know, you don't have to be a jerk to be a great salesperson. You can be nice. You know, if you have a goal, go for it. Don't listen to people who tell you you can't do it. Just go for it anyway, because you can get there. And so after a while, I went, okay, I want to be a coach. So I decided to be a coach, and that was 3 years ago. Just finished my 3rd year, and it has been fantastic. It has been a blast.
Well, so you transitioned from working for a corporation to being out on your own. That's pretty scary. That's scary for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So when you coach people or even yourself, how did you get over that fear of, because you have to invest money, you have to be without a paycheck for a while sometimes. It's not for the faint of heart.
Exactly. And it's interesting, I tell my clients, because we have this discussion on an almost daily basis. When I thought about this and started, I literally took the cushions out of my couch and shook it out to pick up the change to make it, right? I had nothing. I cashed in my 401k.
Right.
Gone. I did a home equity loan against my house for my living expenses, and it was beans and rice, and let's go. But I had a dream of getting back into business ownership and of helping people. It was scary. Absolutely, it was scary. There were a couple times where I was sitting in my office going, what have I done? Oh, moron. You know, just kind of negative self-talk and knocking yourself down. But really, the way I look at it is, you can face that fear and be afraid of it and stay where you are and be miserable. Or I liken it to, there's a veil around you, like a plastic veil or membrane. And everything's cloudy and everything's kind of not clear and you're struggling. But if you push your hands through the membrane and you push it open, the world is a lot different just on the other side of that fear.
Right.
It's clear, the colors are better, your life is better, and you're happier than you were back in that miserable spot on the backside of fear. And so when we realize that, hey, if I can just step through this on faith and know that I'll be, if I'm not successful, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm still going to have my health, still have my family, still have friends.
You can always get a job.
You can always get a job.
Yeah.
You can always make money some other way.
Right.
Right? So really it's just about taking that chance. And that's what I did. I went, all right, let's do it.
So age 52, right? I mean, starting over at age 52 isn't easy, but it sounds like a lot of the people you coach with are in the same boat that you were in.
You know, and it's interesting because right now in the news, that's all you hear about is layoffs, right? I mean, GM just laid off 1,200 people, and all of the people that are getting laid off are middle manager and above. You know, it's not the factory floor worker. It's not the person doing the day-to-day stuff. And so there are a lot of people, executives, you know, in the C-suite that are being downsized and pushed out. And while ageism is illegal, because it's a form of discrimination, it's happening every day. You know, because someone leaves because private equity came in, bought their company, and dismembered the leadership team, which is very common.
Well, they want to save money too.
They want to save money.
Let's face it,
Absolutely.
if you've been in your career 20 years, you're going to be making more than somebody right out of college.
Well, and that's where I was going to go, was like, that you're more expensive.
Exactly.
Than that 40-year-old who just finished his MBA.
Right.
Right. So, yeah. So as on the business side, it's totally understandable. On the personal side, it sucks. You know, it feels horrible. But if people can realize that this is an opportunity and not a distraction, it's not bad to be laid off. You know, our social and our personal beliefs tell us, oh, I've been laid off, this is horrible, you know, world's going to be, it's just bad. When in reality, this is the perfect time, perfect opportunity to explore something you've never even thought of before.
So a lot of your clients have been laid off. Some of them are just dissatisfied with their job, maybe bored doing the same thing year after year.
Yeah.
What other are some other reasons people start exploring with you?
So right now I have a client in Minnesota who is underemployed, right? He worked for a big bank, lost his job because of downsizing.
Sure.
And every step he took was a step down, down the career ladder, down the income ladder, and he can't get back up. And so he wants to live his existing lifestyle, but he's having to draw off savings just to do that, which causes stress. So he's just not happy. Not happy where he is, not happy with what he's doing, not happy with the industry he's in. And so we have been talking about, well, what do you do? And what's interesting is a lot of people will get excited about, yeah, I could own my own business, or I could do something on my own, until it's time to do something. And that's when action is needed, but fear gets in the way. You know, so it's dissatisfied, underemployed people. Or on the other side, I've got a couple of young IT guys that got laid off. Well, they were young, ambitious. They got a good exit package. So now they're sitting on some cash. They're not stressed about the future. So they're exploring all kinds of options. So it's a variety, for sure.
So how do people find you? How are you connecting with these people?
So I find right now it's mostly outbound. I find them. I go out and find them. I would love it for everybody to come find me. I mean,
there's got to be some dissatisfied people here in Billings.
Exactly. I mean, can't we open that door? But no, I go on LinkedIn and I search people with the open to work symbol. I also have a LinkedIn recruiter's license, which allows me to look on the backside of LinkedIn where people say, yes, I'm open to work, but I don't want anybody to know. And so I can see that. And so I just put in search criteria, I pull a bunch of profiles, I look at the profiles. The ones I like, I have my assistant set up appointments, and then we go from there. And I just have a conversation with them. The thing that most people don't believe is possible is that I offer all these services where I help people, I can show them different opportunities, but I don't charge them for any of that.
See, that just like blows my mind.
Yeah.
That you are, and you've said you've consulted with people for months and months sometimes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes they'll kind of back off a little, and then they'll come back and want to talk more.
Well, the way I look at it, or the way that it goes, 80% of the people I deal with will disappear at some point, right? Just vaporize. And so it's that other 20% that's really cool. Because they're the ones that are like, okay, I really want to change. I really want something to happen. Out of them, only 5% of them are actually going to do something. Right?
So 5% of the 20%. Wow.
Yeah. So when you start adding that up, it's a lot of people to talk to.
Right.
You know? But it's all no charge, which is really cool because these people are stressed out. They don't have money. A lot of scammers out there are talking to them. So it's really more about, I give them a safe place to explore, express their dissatisfaction and their frustration, and we work on a plan. What's the plan to get you where you want to go, and what vehicle is going to get you there?
So what are some of the career opportunities that people are investigating when they start working with you?
So I put it into 3 categories. I have W-2, which is go get another job. And so we talk about that and say, is that where you want to go? You know, because I don't sell anything, so I would just want to know where they want to go. If they want to explore the W-2 side of the world, I have partners that will help them with that. If they want to explore business ownership as an option, or even do a compare and contrast where you look at both, then we break it down. Do you want to start it on your own, or do you want to do it in a franchise or an existing business situation? And we go through and we look at those. The neat thing is that most of my portfolio is franchise businesses. And what's really neat about that is people who've never run a business, never owned a business, can own a business, run it, learn how to run it very successfully, and not have to worry about failing. If you follow the formula, if you follow the steps, you're going to be successful.
Right. Well, franchises, well, I mean, good franchises have a good track record.
Yeah.
And, I mean, probably 80%, 90% can do it well. And,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes things happen outside of their control, but it just is a blueprint, so they don't have to try to create it from scratch.
It is. And I think really what people will misunderstand about, especially franchising, is that they think of McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, all these multi-million-dollar investments, when in reality, there's over 35,000 franchises in the United States. A lot of them are around services. You know, when you think about it, it's a lot of senior services, help, you know, senior care, whether it's in facility or in home. There's home repair, roofing, all kinds of home service stuff. Inspectors. You know, most of the really large inspection companies, home inspection companies, are franchises. And so, what else? Oh, pet care.
Right.
You know, coaching services, accountants. I mean, it's just a lot of different things. The interesting thing about what I do, though, is I don't match people. I'm not a matchmaker. What I do is I show people the possibility. You know, we'll spend 4 or 5 weeks talking about what they want and how they want their life to be. A year from now, 5 years from now, retirement. And then we start talking about vehicles. And when it gets finally time to look at a business or 2 businesses or 3 businesses, we look at what we call possibilities. And a possibility is looking at something you may never would have considered had you not gone through this process. And about 95% of my clients will pick something that they would have never thought of on their own.
That's really interesting. Well, because you're only exposed to what you're exposed to.
Yeah. You know, when you're in your profession, whatever that profession is, you tend to stay there because it's comfortable. You know it. You know, like for me, it was the hot tub business. I had expired or exhausted all my searches inside the hot tub business, and there was nothing there that was exciting, new, or challenging. Right? So stepping outside the hot tub business, all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of new, exciting, challenging. You just got to figure out which one you want and where you want to go with it.
Right. Well, and sometimes people's skill sets can be a good fit for an industry
Absolutely.
they haven't thought about.
Absolutely.
And I suppose different people have different needs. Like some people, maybe they enjoy retail and they want to have a shop. And like I know me, I would not be happy having to have a shop open, 5 days a week. But some people love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it all depends on not just your skill set, but also what your lifestyle is that you want to create.
Absolutely. And that's when we look at where you want to go, what you want to do, we look at four components of it. Income for sure. Are you going to make enough money to have your life that you want? Lifestyle, yes. Do you want a flexible schedule? Do you want 9 to 5 weekends off? Do you want nights off? How do you want your life to be? Mm-hmm. But we also look at how do you build wealth? Because I think a lot of people think of small businesses as it's just another job. I'm just buying a job. And when the day comes to retire, I fold it up and it's gone. When in reality, a small business is a great way to build generational wealth, where you can pass it on to your kids, you can pass it on to other people, or you can sell it.
Right.
And then you have the equity, that's the fourth one, to go do what you want to do in your retirement years. Do you want to go sit on the beach when you hit 70? Great. You want to go travel the world? Great. Let's figure out a way to get you there.
Well, so when you first began, you mentioned you had some challenges at first. What do you think was the hardest part about being out on your own?
Really, the challenge, it all comes down to the challenges I'm sure a lot of people face, or the ones that I faced, is all internal, right? The external world, the economy, the negative news doesn't have near the impact as you sitting there in your office with nothing going on going, what am I doing? This is crazy. Oh man, I must suck. I can't believe I said that in that meeting. And you start doing that negative talk and you start spiraling. I would say that was probably the hardest part, was just staying out of that space, right? And luckily I have a mentor that I go to and we talk so that I just vent. Sometimes I vent because, some days in business you don't have great days. Mm-hmm. Other days you have fantastic days, So on those days when it's not so great, it's good to have someone to go vent to. But the biggest frustration is me, which is kind of, unfortunate. But
so when did you realize that you had made it in this business, or that you were making it?
Making it, yeah.
Maybe made it is
too
final for anyone.
There's still a lot more to accomplish for sure. Every year I go to a conference or a convention where all of these coaches come together, and one of the awards is an income award and recognition. And as a rookie, I was the second highest grossing rookie.
Wow.
Across the country, which was pretty exciting. Now, the guy that was the first highest, I considered him my nemesis because we went to the same training, and so I know him, and I'm like, I'm going to beat you. And I wanted to beat him so bad, but you know what? I lost. In my mind, I lost, but I won. I got the awards, I got a nice bank account. Everything's good. So, yeah.
So after
recently,
so after your first year or so, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about one of your favorite success stories of somebody who came to you and totally changed their lives.
I have a lot of them. But this is the fun part about what I do. There's a gentleman in Alabama, and he was a call center senior manager, right? So he was managing a team of 26 people in a call center for multiple clients. So he was busy, stressed out, and he was just sick of being in that environment. We started talking, and he was of the mindset, I'm just going to go get a job. I just need a job. Will you just be quiet? I need a job. And I kept asking him questions about, those dreams, because he loved to golf and he loved to hunt. But they were becoming less frequent because he couldn't afford it, because he didn't have time. And he had a child and a new wife. And so we just kept working. And one day, as we were working through this compare and contrast exercise, we were looking at jobs and we were looking at business ownership, he started seeing the value of what being a business owner could be like. You know, his control of time, his control of his schedule, his ability to make more money, and just have a better life. And he started getting fired up. And it was cool to see the transition to that. Now, he had some challenges, which even makes it better. He's in the middle of bankruptcy. You know, he had a 5-year bankruptcy. He was in year 2. Okay, that really puts a hamper on funding.
Right.
As he's going through, he starts getting excited about the idea of being his own boss, starts talking to coworkers, to his boss. Hey, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. So one day they pulled him into the office and said, we no longer need your services.
Which is understandable, yes.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because you can't qualify for funding if you don't have a job. Which is really ironic in the business world. You're going to start a business, but you have to have a job to start a business. But as soon as you start the business, you leave the job. That part blows my mind. Anyway, he went through all of that. He was so determined, he found his own source of funding. It took him a while, but he literally talked this bank into funding his dream. But he wanted it that bad. And now he is thriving. He is living a better life than he's ever lived before. And what's really cool is he was one of my first clients. So it was like, that was a year later. From the time we met to the time that he signed on the dotted line was 12 months.
Well, what do you think holds people back from going for what they really want in life?
Fear. Without a doubt. It's not, we'll mask it as one reason or another. We'll look at the economy. And this is one I hear a lot right now. Oh, the economy is horrible. I'm like, is it? I mean, the stock market's not the economy. The economy is a big picture. It's growing. It's not rocketing, but it's growing. But when would you want to be, what part of a cycle do you want to be on? The downward slide or the upward slide? Well, typically we want to be on the upward slide. Well, in order to get on the upward side of an economy, you have to jump in on the downward side. And you got to hit the bottom and then go up. Most people don't realize that, so they get afraid. They get scared. They get afraid of failure. What if I fail? I think that's probably the biggest one, because it's tied to finances. It's always tied to finances. Well, I could lose my investment. Yeah, you could lose your investment in the stock market. Which would you rather bet on, yourself or the stock market? Right? So fear. I spend 80% of my conversations are around fear. And how do you overcome it? It's never going to go away. You just have to learn how to adjust and manage it.
Well, so James, how do people get in touch with you if they are interested in exploring career options?
So you can just Google search me. Just type in James Schrage. My Facebook page shows up.
All right.
Because off the top of my head, I can't remember any of my handles for some reason. Because they're all different.
Okay, but just Google James Schrage.
Or the Entrepreneur Source, because the Entrepreneur Source is the name of my company. It'll show up right here in Billings. And yeah, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok.
Okay.
I started a TikTok page. I'm not dancing though, no dancing on TikTok.
All right, well, James isn't dancing for you, but he is a great resource if you're looking to make a career transition to be an entrepreneur. Thank you so much for being here today, James. I'm Nancy Brooke, your host. Thank you for joining us on All About Billings, and hope to see you next time.